And next we have to get the document object. We have to get next we have to get what? The document object we have to get. So if you want to get the document object, right, document d is equals to builder dot parse is a method. Document d is equals to builder dot parse is a method. In this parse method we have to specify file object from which file you wants to read the data, because now we are doing the reading operation. If you are creating at that time, we'll specify builder dot new document. Now you want to read the data. If you want to read the data, we have to use a method called builder dot parse method. So first you have to specify from which file you want to read the data. So let's take here string path, the code whatever we written earlier. First we are specifying this is a file path. In this location the XML file is available. In this location the XML file is available. Okay, and we don't require this root element, we don't require. If file is exist, then we are getting the data from that existing XML file. We are getting the data. Document d is equals to builder.parse is a method. By using this statement, we are reading the data we are reading from a file, and we stored that entire data we stored into the document object we stored. How much data is available in the XML file? You will get all the data. You will get that entire data we stored into which object? Into document object we stored. If file is available, then we are doing this one. If the file is not available, simply will display a toast message, will display like toast.make text get application context. Simply will display a message file not exist. That's it. If file is available, if file is available, we'll see what is the logic we have to write. We are getting the data from a file, and we stored that entire data we stored into the document object we stored. If the file is not available, then we are displaying a message we are displaying to the user, that is file is what? File is not exist. We are displaying this message we are displaying to the user. If the file is already available, then we are getting the data from that file, and we stored that entire data we stored into the document object. We stored the entire data, right? This document object contains the data. Now here you have to specify this document object contains a method. This document object contains a method called get elements by tag name is a method. What is the method name? Get elements by tag name. Okay, so we'll see what is that logic, but before that, this logic will give an exception. Better put the logic inside the try catch. Here is logic will give an exception. Put the logic inside what? Try catch. So now here, the data is available in the document object. How much data is available in the XML file? We got the entire data. We stored the data into document object. We stored the entire data. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I'll write the sample XML file. I'll write whatever the XML file we created. Basically, this is what the XML file we created programmatically, right? What is a root tag? Root tag is employees is a root tag. It contains employee tag is one thing. Next, another thing is ID tag, close ID, name tag, designation, and department. Close employee. If you want, you can insert one more record. You can insert. And finally, close employees. So 1 to 3 is one record, and 1 to 4 is another record. Okay. This is what the XML file we created, right? This is what the XML file we created. This is the XML file we created programmatically. So now in this XML file, what is the root element? What is the root element in this XML file? Employees is a root element, right? It contains multiple employee records. It contains multiple employee records. This is one employee record. This is one employee record and this is another employee record. Like this you can maintain, n number of employee records you can maintain, right? You can maintain n number of employee records you can maintain in the XML file. This is one employee record, okay? And this is another employee record. Like this it contains a lot of, like this you can maintain what? N number of employee records you can maintain inside the employee stack. Now my requirement is if user select the read button, I want to read the data from the XML file. So there is a method called, if you want to read the data from the XML file, document object dot, there is a method called get elements by tag name is a method. What is a method name? Get elements by tag name is a method. So from which tag you want to read the data, you have to specify the tag name here. See, I want to read all the employee IDs, or I want to read only names. I want to read only designations. Like which tag data you wants to get, you can specify only that particular tag name. You can specify which tag information you want to get. You can specify only that particular tag name. You can specify. Okay. My requirement is I want to get all the employee information I want to get. This is the first employee record. This is the second employee record. Like this, how many employee records are available? I want to get all the employee details I want to get. I want to get all the employee details. So what is the tag name here? Meaning these four, this ID, name, designation, department, these four are child of what? These four are child of which tag? Child of employee tag. These four are child of employee tag. So I want to get the entire employee information I want to get. So that's why there is a method called d.getElements by tag name. In this method, let's specify the tag name as employee, meaning how many employee records are available in the XML file. You will get all the records you will get. Okay, you will get what? All the, how many records are available with this name employee tag, you will get all the records. Return type of this method, I already told you. Technically, user terminology we called as tag. XML terminology we called as element. Java terminology we called as what? Node will call. So here return type of this get elements by tag name is nothing but node list. What is the return type? Node list is the return type of this get elements by tag name method. So you'll get multiple values, you will get multiple element tag values you will get. So we are storing that one into a node list we are stored. Meaning how many records are available with this employee tag, you'll get all the records. Now all the records are available in this node list object, all the records are available. And we don't know how many records are available also. It may contain one record, or it may contain 10 records or 100 records. We don't know the count, how many records are available. So now here, next, how many records are available in the XML file? We had to get all the records we had to get. Employee records are available, we had to get all the records. Let's write for int I is equals to 0, I less than list dot get length and I plus plus. Int I is equals to 0, I less than list dot what? List dot get length and I plus plus. Meaning how many records are available in the XML file, we are getting that individual records we are getting one after another. For example, this is the, so this is zero index. This is the first value, right? So this is zero index, and this is one index. Like this, how many employee records are available in the XML file? We are getting all the records we are getting. So to get all the records, we already got all the records, employee records. We stored into a list. And now to get the individual item, we are writing a loop. We are writing. Now inside this loop, we had to get the individual employee object we had to get. So here, individual means nothing but node. Node specifying emp is equals to list dot list dot item of I, list dot item of what, I. Okay, how many times this loop is going to be repeat, how many tags are available with the name employee, that many times this loop is going to be repeat. Okay, we got the employee object, we got, meaning this information we got here, we got this employee object, we got this employee object, we got now, we got this employee object, we got now. But now this employee object is not having the data directly, this employee is not having the data, employee is having the childs. Employee is having what, child's ID, name, designation, department, these are childs of employee. Employee is having a childs, this childs contains the data. So now we had to get this child information, we had to get this employee is having the childs, this childs is having the data. So here we have to write here the employee object dot, there is a method called get child nodes is a method. What is the method name? Get child nodes is a method. Employee object dot get child nodes is a method. See, what is the return type of this get child nodes method? Return type of this get child nodes method is nothing but again you will get node list object, because we don't know how many child elements are there, right? That's why again I'm taking what the node list is a return type of this child nodes method, and specifying here it's a childs of employee. Childs of employee is equals to employee dot get child nodes is a method. So how many child records are child elements are there for the employee, that many times this, that many values you will get here. Again it contains multiple values, so we have to write one loop, we have to write to get the individual, to get the individual tag or individual element, we have to write one more loop, we have to write int j is equals to 0, j less than childs of emp dot get length and j plus plus. Now how many times this j loop is going to be repeat, how many times this j loop is going to be repeat, how many childs are available for that employee, that many times that loop is going to be repeat. In our example, how many childs are there for employee? There are 4 child records are available for employee, meaning that loop is going to be repeat for how many times? 4 times that loop is going to be repeat. First you will get id, then you will get name, designation, department. Employee dot get child nodes we specified, we are getting all the child nodes, we are storing into one node list, we are storing. Okay, so now get the individual, now get the individual child, now get the individual child. Node child is equals to childs of emp dot item of, specify the index j. Node child is equals to childs underscore emp dot item of what, j. Meaning how many childs are available for the employee tag, how many childs are available for employee tag, that many times this loop is going to be repeat. How many childs are available for the employee, that many times this for loop is going to be repeat. Okay, so now we got the individual child object we got, but this individual child means nothing but here you'll get id, name, designation and department. Id, name, designation and department. Even these things also not contains the data, meaning id tag is also not contains the data. Id is having one more child called 123. Id is having a child called what, 1 2, meaning this id is having a child, that child is having that value. Name is not having the data, name contains one more child, the child is having the data. So for that what we have to do is I'm creating a string variable, I'm creating what, a string variable I'm creating here. Initially this msg is equals to empty string, msg is equals to what, initially I'm making it empty, I'm making initially. One second. String msg is equals to what, empty. Okay, so now we have to append the data to msg, we have to append the data like whatever the value we got, the child value will append to the msg variable. Msg is equals to msg plus child dot, I mean child means nothing but this loop is going to be repeat for 4 times. First one is for id, second one is for name, designation and department. 4 times this loop is going to be repeat. Meaning first you will get ID as a child, next name you will get, designation and department. But the child is not having the data. It contains one more child. That's why I'm calling get first child method. Get first child dot get node value is a method. Get node value plus just append the slash n, because if you append slash n, the next record is there, right? Next row value will get in the next line you will get. That's it. So we are reading the data we are reading from the XML file. We are reading the data we are reading from the XML file, and we are storing the data into one string variable. What is a string variable? MSG. So before going to read the next employee record, we stored this employee data. We stored that employee tag data we stored into one string variable we stored, that is MSG. Now we'll display this string variable we'll display now. Toast to dot, there is a method called make text is a method. Toast dot make text is a method. Specify the context here. First parameter get application context. Get application context. Second parameter is the message. Get application context. Second parameter is what? Message. Third parameter is the duration. Length underscore long dot show is the method. Toast dot make text. Get application context. What is the message you want to display and what is the duration? I want to display for 2 seconds. I want to display. Length underscore long dot show is the method. Okay. Let's run the code. Just briefly I'll explain you once again. We are checking whether file is available or not. If the file is available, then there is a method called builder.parse is a method. We are getting the data from the XML file. We are storing the entire data. We are storing into document object. We are storing the entire data. Okay. Next, if you want to get now the entire data is stored in the document object. To read the data from this document object, there is a method called get elements by tag name. By using which tag you want to get the information, you have to specify the tag name. For example, you want to get only name tag information you want to get. Specify name here. Or you want to get only employee IDs, specify ID, that's it. You'll get only IDs you will get. But my requirement is I want to get the entire employee information I want to get. So that's why I specified employee. And we don't know how many records are available. That the return type of this method is node list object. How many records are available? That entire data is stored into the node list. The entire data is stored into what? The node list object. Now we are getting one record we are getting by using a loop. We created a for loop we created. We are getting the records we are getting one after another. We are getting the records. Okay. That individual employee record I'm getting here. Okay. Again, this employee object is not having the data. It contains a child. The child is having the data. That's why I'm calling a method called get child nodes method. We'll get multiple childs for that tag. So all the child records I stored into one node list object. I stored the entire childs. I created a loop for reading the child records. I'm getting the individual node I'm getting, and I'm displaying that value. I'm storing that value in a string object. I'm storing that value, and finally we are displaying that MSG. We are displaying in a toast. We are displaying that message. That's it. Okay. Now let's select the run button. Our application is already installed. Let's see whether are we able to read the data from XML or not. Select this read button. Once if you select the read button, so we got 1 to 4 record. We got this is the first record 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and 1 to 6. So we are able to read the data from the XML file. We are able to read the data from the XML file. Okay, but my requirement is this is how to read all the records. This is what how to read all the records. But my requirement is I don't want to read all the records. My requirement is I'll specify the here I'll specify the number. I'll specify employee ID. For example, I'll specify here I want to get the value from only 1 to 3, only 1 to 3 tag value I want to get. I don't want to get all the records. I don't want to get what? All the records. I'll specify 1 to 3. I'll specify here. If I select 1 to 3 and select the read button, I want to get only that particular 1 to 3 record only I want to get. I don't want to get the other tags information I don't want to get. Only that particular record has to get set the data to these text boxes. The tag value name it has to set to second text box, designation it has to set to the third text box, and department it has to set to the fourth text box. Now that is the logic. Now here this logic is for reading all the records. This logic is for what? Reading all the records, all the employee records. Just I'm not removing this logic, just I'm commenting this logic. I commented the logic. This logic is for what? This logic to read all the records. To read all the records from the XML file. Now here we'll write this. Logic is same. Just here also same logic. Just copy that logic I commented, so that logic will not execute. So now we'll see how to read the data from a specific record. How to read the data from a specific record. So here same logic, but here we have to check whether user is going to give, right, which record information user wants to read. So he is going to give that information in the text box. He wants to read either 1 to 3 tag or 1 to 4 tag, which tag information he wants to get. He is going to give the input in the text box. So here we are getting the individual child objects data we are getting here. We are getting the individual child objects data we are getting here. Let's take a boolean variable here. Before going to read the child records, let's take a boolean variable. I'm taking a boolean variable found is equals to false. I'm taking a boolean variable found is equals to what? False. Now we don't require this MSG. If you want, you can remove this MSG, you can remove. This stores message also I don't require. Okay. So now here we taken a boolean variable that is found is a boolean variable. Initially found is what? False. Initially found is what? False. Now user is going to give a value in the text box. We have to check whether that value is available in the XML file or not while it is recording. So right here, if there is a method called, meaning after getting the child record, meaning ID, name, designation, department, 4 times this loop is going to be repeat, right? So here, if child dot, if this tag name dot, there is a method called get node name. This is equals ignore case of ID, meaning I'm specifying first, I'm checking first whether it is reading the data from the ID tag or not. It is reading the data from ID tag or not, and that is the first condition. First it has to read the data from the ID tag, and if user given value, where the user is going to give the value, user is going to give the value in the text box. et1 dot get text dot toString. The user given value is equals with the XML value, because how many child records are available in the employee, that many times this loop is going to be repeated. So first I'm checking whether the user first it is reading the data from the ID tag or not. If that first condition is true, then execute the second condition. Second condition is user given value is equals with equals ignore case of, if user given value is available equals with the XML value. XML value means if you want to get the XML value, child dot, there is a method called get first child is a method. When directly child is not having the date, directly the ID tag or designation department, 4 times this loop is going to be repeated. The childs are not having the data. It contains one more child, that child is having the data. That's why we are calling get first child dot get node value. Okay. If this condition is true, make found is equals to true. If this condition is true, make found is equals to what? True. Meaning first we are checking whether user given id is available in the XML file or not. User given id is available in the XML file or not. If it is available, then we are displaying a toast message found is equals to true. Okay. Then after this if condition, okay, after this if condition, we are checking here if found. If found, it meaning if record is available. If found, meaning if record is available, then what we had to do is, while we are reading the data, we had to set the data to the text boxes. Simple. For example, if found is true, meaning the user given record is available in the XML. For example, if the tag name, if this tag name is equals with child dot get node name dot equals ignore case of if it is reading the data from the name tag. First, if it is reading the data from the ID tag, we are checking this logic. We are checking if the user given ID is available in the XML file, then we are making found is equals to true. If found is true, and if it is reading the data from the name tag, what we had to do is we had to set the values to edit text 2 component. We had to set the values. et2 dot set text is a method. From where we'll get the value? Child dot get first child dot get node value. Meaning we are setting the name value. We are setting to whom? We are setting the name value. We are setting to the text box 2. We are setting the value. Like this, we have to write the logic for two more times. We have to write the logic for two more tags. One is for name. Next thing is for what? Designation. So this designation we are setting for text edit text 3 component. The last thing is nothing but department. This department value we are setting to whom? This department value we are setting to edit text 4 component. We are setting the department value we are setting. Okay. Now let's run the code. Let's run the code and see are we able to read the data from XML or not. Okay. So app is installed. First specify the ID here. From which XML file you want to read the data. Let's specify the ID here. For example, I want to read the data from 1 to 4 record. I want to read the data. So let's specify 1 to 4. And once if you select this read button, once if you select, we'll get only 1 to 4 record information we got. We'll get 1 to 4 Rajesh mobility. Okay. So now if you want to read 1 to 5 record, you want to read. I specified 1 to 5, and once if you select the read button, now we got only 1 to 5 record. Or same thing, we'll get only 1 to 6 record details. Earlier we are reading all the details we are reading, but now we are reading only that particular record. Whatever the ID you given, in the first text box, we are checking here first whether the user given value is equals to the XML tag value or not. If it is found, then we are updating that XML data. We are updating the text boxes. We are updating the data. This is the reading logic. This is what? The reading logic. Any queries in this reading logic? We don't have any queries, then we'll move to the update and delete methods. Let me know if you have any queries. Because update and delete, I told you, right? It's a copy paste work for me. I don't need to write the huge amount of logic. Let's copy and paste. Do you have any queries? Okay. So now here, let's see the next one, that is update. So we'll create a button called update is a button. Let's configure the click event for this update button. Let's configure the click event for this update button. On click is equals to what? Update. And even we'll write the logic for this delete also at a time. So we'll check both, we'll check at a time. On click is equals to delete. We created two buttons. We configure the click event, we configure for update and delete buttons. Now let's create two separate methods in your main activity.java. update and so now whenever user select the update button, okay, I want to update the data in the XML file. I want to update. Now the same logic was whatever the logic we written in the reading method, whatever the logic we written in the read method. Let's copy this entire logic. That's what I told. You have to understand the reading logic. If you understand the reading logic, easily you can understand update and delete logic. Now the entire read logic I placed into the update method. So basically, what is in my update here? The XML file contains some data. XML file contains what? Some data. Now in the reading, what we are doing is we are reading the data from the XML file. We are setting the data to text boxes. Meaning here in the application we created 4 text boxes. We created in the application. Now in the application we created what? 4 text boxes we created. One is the ID tag. Next one more thing is what? The name tag, ID, name, designation and department. ID, name, designation and department. Earlier what in the reading logic what we are doing is we are reading the data from the XML file, we are setting the data to the text boxes. What we are doing? We are reading the data from the XML file, we are setting the data to whom? To the text box we are setting the data. This is what the logic we written in the read logic. Read the data from the XML file. If any XML record is found, set that XML data to the text boxes. That's what the logic we written in the read method. Now what we have to do? We have to make it reverse. Like if any XML record is found, we have to update these values. We have to update from where? From the text boxes. Now we have to make it reversible. That's it. Remaining everything is same. Earlier we are reading the data from the XML file. We are setting the values to text boxes. Now from text boxes we have to get the values and we have to set the values. We have to set to the XML file. We have to set. Now we have to write this update logic. We have to write now. We have to write the logic for this update. Make it reverse. That's it. See here where we have to make the changes. If any XML record is found, found is equals to true. If it is reading the data from the name tag, data from the name tag, earlier we are getting the value from the first child, we are getting the value, right? Now we have to make it reverse. Child dot get first child dot, earlier we are getting the values we are getting. Now in place of this get node value, we have to specify set node value. That's it. That's only the difference. Earlier we are getting the value, that's why we are using get node value, but now we are making it the reverse. I want to set the value, I want to set to the XML file. From where you will get? From name value I'll get from edit text to component I'll get. So et2.getText.toString. et2.getText.toString. Okay, next. Copy the same logic. Child.get first child.set node value. For this we'll get a value from edit text 3 component will get a value. If it is in case of department, we'll get the value from edit text 4 component will get the value. et4.getText.toString. That's it. So earlier we are reading the data from the XML tags and we are displaying the data to the UI components. Now it's reverse. We are updating the data on the XML file from the XML tags. But here, once if record is found, we are updating the XML file. We are updating the XML file. We are updating. Okay, fine. But after updating the data, what we had to do is we had to recreate the XML file. After updating the XML file, what we had to do? We had to recreate the XML file. We had to recreate. You just set the update button. What we had to do? We had to recreate the XML file. We had to recreate. Meaning, if any file is available before the else statement. Of course, you can write anywhere. Even the found logic also you can write. But don't if it is available, if the file is available. What we are doing is we are updating the data. We are updating in the XML file. If the data is updated, then what we have to do is this transformer logic is there, right? In the insert logic, we written the code we written for creating the XML file. Transformer factory, what is the source, what is the destination we specified. Transformer object dot transform is a method. Specify the source and result. Meaning this logic we had to specify once again, we had to specify this logic. In the update method, we had to specify this logic, we had to specify once again, we had to specify this logic. Because in the reading example, just what we are doing is only we are reading the data from the XML file. That's it. But now here in the update method, what we are doing, we are modifying the content. We got the entire data, we got the document object. Whatever the data is there in this document object. Now we are doing the modifications in the object document object. We are doing the modifications. That modified object we had to restore in the XML file. That's why once again we are writing this transformer logic. We are writing to store the data into XML file. Now let's see here whether data is updating in the XML file or not. Okay, so app is installed. First, I'm specifying the employee ID. I'm specifying. For example, I want to read the data from 1 to 5 record. I want to read the data. Let's specify 1 to 5 and read button. So we got the particular record. We got 1 to 5 Bhaskar, manager, and admin. We specify 1 to 4. You'll get only 1 to 4 record. You'll get. Okay. Now I want to update this record. I want to update. For example, name I'm updating to Rajesh Tikpala. So here the people cannot understand this as a senior software executive, for example. Just I'm modifying some content, that's it. I'm modifying some content, I'm modifying. And once if user selects the update button, when user selects the update button, the record will be update. The record will be what? Update. Now let's see, are we getting the updated data or not? So if you want to get that information, first read any some other record like 1 to 6. Like again specify 1 to 4 and read button. Observe here. Now we got the updated data we got. Now we got the updated data. So record is updated. Now we are reading the data. We are reading the particular record. We are reading once again. Okay. So now we got the updated data we got. This is the update. This is the update logic. This is what? The update logic. Just whatever logic we written in the read method, we copied that entire logic we copied. Okay. And in the read method, we are reading the data from the XML file. We are setting the data to text boxes. Now it's reverse. We are reading the data from the text boxes. We are setting the values to the XML file. We are setting. That is a logic in update. And anyway, we are modifying the content. We are modifying in the document object. So that's why we had to recreate the XML file. We had to recreate. For that, we are creating once again this transformer logic. We are using once again for recreating the XML. Okay. And what is the last one? Delete method. What is the last one? In the delete method. So here, even for delete method also, whatever the logic I written in the update method, let's copy this entire logic. Just only one small change you had to do, that's it, in the update method. Let's copy this entire logic and specify that logic in the delete method. Let's copy that entire logic, update logic, and paste in the delete method. And here, everything is same was. If any record is found, we are making found is equals to what? True. And we don't need to specify this one. We don't to get these values. Updating the values is not required. So just remove that one. And even if you want, you can remove this found boolean variables also. You can. Okay, anyway, we'll write. So if user given ID is available in the XML file, we are making found is equals to true. That's it, right? And based on that, we are updating the values and we are reading that particular record we are reading. But now here, if the user given ID is available in the XML file, we had to remove that particular record. We had to remove now. We had to remove that particular record. So here document object dot, there is a method called document object dot remove child of this child object. That's it. If any XML record is found, if user given ID is found in the XML file, that particular record we are removing. That entire employee record we are removing. But best way, rather than using this one, let's use in this way. Okay, we want to remove this child, mean this employee record completely I want to remove. Child dot, there is a method called remove child is a method. Child dot remove child of, not child. Child dot get parent node dot remove child of node, meaning child dot get parent node dot remove child of child, meaning we are specifying. For example, user is given an ID called 123. So there is a record is available with the 123 record. There is a record is available, this employee record. This whole employee data we stored into what? One object we stored the employee data. What is that one? That is child. Sorry, not the child. This entire employee object we have to remove now. If any record is found, we have to remove that entire employee object. We have to remove employee dot get parent node dot remove child of employee. It's not a child, because if you write child, if you write, what will happen? It's going to remove the ID, name, designation. These tags is going to remove. Okay, but I want to remove the entire employee record. I want to remove. That's why I'm specifying emp dot get parent node dot remove child of employee. Meaning if any record is found with this, if any record is found, we are getting that entire employee object we are getting. And see what is the logic written here. Emp dot get parent node. Emp dot what? Get parent node. Meaning what is the parent for this one? The parent for this one is nothing but employees is the parent for this, right? The parent for this one is nothing but employees is the parent for this. Meaning we are specifying employees dot remove child is the method. I want to remove the tag I want to remove. Which one? This entire employee tag I want to remove. Okay, that's the logic written. Emp dot get parent node dot remove child of emp. Okay, now let's run the code and see. Okay. So now here specify which employee update logic we seen anyway. Update is working fine. Now which employee delete record you want to delete? Let's specify the ID here. For example, 124. If you see 124 and read button, now the record is available. Okay, we are displaying the data we are displaying. Once if you select the delete button, I selected delete button. I selected now. I selected what? Delete button. I selected. I set the delete button. I selected. Now let's go and open the XML file and give the ID once again. XML test. Specify the ID here. I want to read the data from 124 tag. I want to read the data 124, and if you click on the read button, nothing. We are not getting anything here. I'm selecting the read button. I'm selecting, but I'm not getting any value. I'm not getting, because that particular record has what? Deleted. That particular record is already deleted. And if I read, what the values you got? The particular 124 record is what? It's already deleted. Okay. So this is how to perform the CRUD operations on the XML file. How to perform the CRUD operations on the XML file using what? DOM parser. Okay. So any queries in this DOM parser? Reading, update, delete.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have one
I have
doubt.
one
Like
doubt. Like yes, Neha.
in
In
that
that, where exactly?
update.
Okay.
Actually, you're getting to that particular employee tag and you're updating the records. Why you're writing the transformer factory and recreating the XML file when you're correctly updating the records in the XML file? You're rewriting is this necessary to write the transformer factory? What's the purpose of that?
Basically, first we are getting the
Because
data.
if you don't write a transformer factory, will the records will be updated or not? That's my doubt.
Not updating the XML file. So what will
It will
happen
not
is,
update.
yeah, here we are getting the entire data we are getting from the XML file. We are storing the data. We stored the entire data into the document object. This document object contains the entire data. Okay.
Okay.
So now here we are modifying this XML data we are modifying, meaning directly these data will not be reflect to the XML file. These data will be reflect to the document object because we are performing the modification object update operation we are performing on the document object. Whatever the data is there in the document object, and that data we are performing this update. So now the data is updated. We had to write that updated data. We have to write into an XML file, right? That's why we are writing this transformer factory logic. The updated data we are writing into an XML file.
Okay, okay, got you.
Meaning directly it will not update on the XML file. We are performing updation operation on the document object. So that will not be reflect to the file. So that's why what we are doing is we are recreating the file we are recreating. So the updated data is going to be written, is going to be right on the XML file. Okay. So this is how to perform the crude operations on the XML file using DAM parser. But basically DAM parser is not preferred to read the data from the XML file. Meaning, if you tell in the interviews, like for example, I use DOM parser for reading the data, easily the interviewer will understand you don't have a real time experience. Why I'm telling this statement is because I seen in the lot of interviews I seen, a lot of people will give the answer. Even I only had to give the hint, like was okay, you said you use a soap web series you used in your project. Okay, then you'll get the response in XML file, which parts are used for reading the data. Then immediately the person will tell I used a DOM parser I used for reading the data. If you use DOM parser means you don't have real time experience. Because DOM parser is not preferred for reading the data from the XML file. Why the DOM parser is not preferred for reading the data from the XML file is because, see, we are writing this statement here. If you see the XML reading logic, document D is equals to builder.parse is a method. We are specifying the file object. Meaning whatever the data is there in the XML file, whatever the data is there in the XML file, we are getting that entire data we are getting, and we are storing that data we are storing into the document object. We are storing the entire data. Okay. Problem with this one is nothing but, for example, the XML file contains 1,000 records. XML file contains 1,000 records. Each record contains 4 tags. Let's take this example. XML file contains what? 1,000 tags. Each tag contains four inner tags again. Meaning how many tags are there? 4,000 tags. Let's take leave out all those things. An XML file contains 1,000 records, but you have a requirement of reading only one record from the XML file. You have a requirement of reading only one record from the XML file. Even though your requirement is reading the data from only one record from the entire XML file, remaining 999 for remaining 999 records, unnecessarily it is going to allocate the memory. It's going to allocate. Getting my point? Our requirement is we have a requirement of reading the data from only one record. But if you want to read the data from the XML file, we have to use this method. Builder.parse is a method, specify the file object. The entire data, whatever the data is there in the entire XML file, that entire data you will get, and that entire data we stored into the document object. So a lot of memory is going to be waste in case of DOM parser. Lot of memory is going to be what? Waste in the DOM parser. That's why if you have a requirement of reading the data, if you have a requirement of creation, updation, deletion, and these operations, if you want to perform, of course, definitely we had to go for DOM parser. The day one we discussed, right? We are having three parsers we are having here. One is DAM parser. Second thing is what? SAX parser. And third thing is XML, XML pull parser. Okay. By using this DAM parser, we can create an XML, read, update, and delete these operations we can perform on the XML file by using the DAM parser. But this SAX parser and XML pull parser are what? It's a read-only parser, meaning we can read the data from the XML file by using this SAX parser and XML pull parser. Okay, so we already completed these operations. We already completed creation is completed. We already completed this entire DOM parser we already discussed, but DOM is not preferred for reading the data from the XML. If you have a requirement of this creation, updation, and deletion, definitely we have to go for DOM parser. There is no any other parsers to perform these operations. Definitely we have to use what? DOM parser. But if you have a requirement of reading, then it's not preferred. If you have a requirement of reading the data from the XML, use either SAX parser or XML pull parser for reading the data from the XML file. Okay. So in the next class, we'll discuss this SAX parser and XML pull parser. Okay. Because it will take some time to discuss these two parsers, and even it's also same. Once if you understand one parser, you can understand the second parser. You can understand easily because the concept is same. In case of SAX parser and XML pull parser, the concept is what? Same for reading the data from XML. Okay. In our next class, we'll discuss this SAX parser and XML pull parser. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay. Yeah. Uh, just give me a minute. I'll upload in the drive folder. Even this today's example also I'll upload in drive folder.
Hello,
Hello. Yes, Rakesh.
Mahesh.
Uh,
Mahesh, I have a doubt on insert. Like when you're inserting, you're giving an ID, which is a unique ID because if you want to specify the same ID with the different fields, like let assume 124 with different name, will it take it or will it give any error if I
it
give
will
the same ID?
it will not give any error. It will insert the data.
Okay, but when you're reading it,
Hmm.
what will it show that both data again
Yeah, both will show you.
or the same?
So if
Okay,
you want to provide that logic, if you want to provide I don't want to maintain multiple records with the same ID, then what we had to do is first we had to read the entire XML file. Somewhere you had to store all the existing IDs you had to store first of all. Okay. So then
okay,
if user is given any new ID, we had to check that ID. We had to check whether this ID is already exist or not. If it is not exist, then only insert the data. Otherwise, show a message to the user ID is already exist like that.
okay,
But XML we cannot provide that primary kind of functionality. We cannot provide in XML. In case of database, if you specify as a primary key, then you cannot make it duplicate. You cannot make.
okay.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll upload in the drive folder and I'll share it. Just like that. So our project name is XML test is a project name. So can you send me the mail IDs because we already sent because that is another mail account. So I cannot get that auto completion. I cannot get here. Just share your mail IDs. I'll copy immediately. Murli, that yesterday recorded session is also available uh, in this drive folder only. Abhishek and Nandakishore, send me your mail IDs. vnkishore92@gmail.com. Mr. Abhishek. Okay. So I shared a drive folder, so which contains today's example and yesterday's video session. Okay. And after this class, I'll upload the today video file also. I'll upload. Okay. So thank you guys. See you tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll discuss this remaining two parts and we'll try to close the XML parsing part. We'll try to close. Okay. So thank you. See you tomorrow at the same time. Tomorrow also have a class at the same time, 6 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.